Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to the F.O.B. So, got a couple of updates. Nothing real crazy, but I have started tearing this thing apart. So I'll show you what we got here. So as you can see here, yeah, this is where some birds had gotten in, made a nest in this rear corner section here. You can see we had the rear corner. It used to say emergency exit. It's just a big boxed in section right there. Basically, there were these little access panels for the back of the strobes, the warning lights, that were open, and at one point some birds got in here. So we got to clean all this up. There's a bunch of wiring for the safety systems that are no longer installed in this that are going to be removed. So all the wires for the rear warning lights are going to come out. All the, I would say probably almost half of that's going to come out, because a lot of this has to do with safety interlocks for starting the engine. So a lot of that's coming out. But as you can see, we're down to bare metal. You can also see I don't have any rust. That's not rust. This is like this is actually deposits from welding. There's no rust here. I know it's kind of a rusty color on the camera. It's not. It's very gray in person, and it is not rust. So, very interesting. I believe that this is actually stainless right here. And whatever coating that they're using, a lot of these inside panels, again, that's not rust. It looks very gray here. You can tell that is just from the heat and gases from welding. Very, very tiny, possibly a tiny little bit of rust there. But really nothing to speak of up here. We'll just call it, for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much all rust free. Anywhere you see that brown color, like right there, that's all very obvious to me anyway, that that's from welding gas and not rust. So that's all very good news. Structurally looking fantastic up here. There's a couple changes that are going to be made. As you can see right here, this used to sit up like this. You can see how that's a focus. You can see how this is a closed off panel on this side, but yet we have this boxed in section and louvers over here. So that means that in its factory form, where this is the air intake, see the air box extends down into the engine compartment, that cannot be insulated properly. So that's probably going to be a major portion of the body work on this thing, is going to be cutting this out, welding in a flat section to match the other side, moving this air box, blocking off that bottom section so that it goes all that the top of the engine compartment goes all the way to the wall, so that this can be insulated properly to match the rest of everything here. So all this back section is coming out, or has come out, to measure all this, to measure this section here. You can see measuring all this to figure out how much insulation I'm going to need. So I've done some rough estimates, and it looks like it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of about 450 square feet worth of insulation needed. So that's not too bad. Not too bad. I think it was 450. I will have to go back and check that again. You know, a lot of this is actually, you would think it'd be more, but you see these windows go all the way down. So there's a lot of glass that's not going to get insulated. So, but that's including the walls, the ceiling. But yeah, so we're getting started. First shipment. The way I'm ordering this stuff, it's actually not cheaper to get the insulation in bulk, because of the way it ships and just because of the way I'm having to get it. So it's actually roughly the same price ordering it in bulk by the pallet, which is like 3 times more than I'd actually need, versus piecemealing it. So I get to piecemeal it. I'm actually kind of glad about that, because, you know, you get like a 3-day turnaround and you get to do a section at a time. So I think one shipment will actually have me able to do this back section here and this roof section here, which is going to be nice. So, yes, the windows do have to come out to get the walls out. So, I can do this back section here once I finish the louver area that needs to be cut out and a flat piece welded in. The window will have to be removed. You can see there is screws around the frame of the window. The window will have to be pushed out in order to get this center section out. So this whole part here will come out all as one piece and will be re-insulated. This focus is all over the place because of that light coming in from the open window. But basically we get to start on the insulation here soon, so I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be a big deal, as I had stated in another video. There we go, we'll flip the camera. As I had stated in another video, the previous insulation was looking at somewhere like an R2, and we're going to be going up to an roughly an 8 to an 8.4, 8.6, somewhere in there. So it's probably going to be like 8.4, 8.6. So that's way better. It's way better than 2. So once we do that and then combine that with radiant heat barriers and reflective layers in either using paints that can reflect heat, or there's a few different options. I'm not going to get into all the options that I'm potentially going to use here, but keeping as much heat off of the surface of the metal and then blocking the heat from that does end up on the metal from getting into the interior. Those are my main goals. So it's not just going to be insulate the crap out of it and let it be. It's going to be, how can we keep the heat from even getting there in the first place? Because it's metal, so it's going to be difficult to, it's going to be difficult. It sounds like I got to do some more pruning. I got a branch growing on the roof. So anyway, that's going to be all that. All this up here is all going to be insulated here pretty soon. These lights need to be changed. These are the last 2 incandescent bulbs I can feel. I mean, you can barely touch these housings. That's a big source of heat right there. So I am looking at ways of cooling and ventilating this thing and keeping it livable without air conditioning, without your normal air conditioner, because that is a lot of electricity. That is a whole lot of electricity, and I would like to see how far I can go without air conditioning in this vehicle. So with window treatments, window films, insulation, stuff like that, that is what's going to be, I think all that's going to play a huge factor in keeping the heat out. So whatever I can do in those areas is where a lot of my focus is going to be on. So the type of insulation, I didn't discuss the type of insulation. I am going to be using a mineral wool or a stone wool or a rock wool or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to be using that type of product. It's going to be the semi-rigid board type of insulation. So it's basically just going to go up and have slits in it. There's a couple things I need to do for preparation for it that I haven't figured out yet. Trying to decide how breathable that's going to be when it's installed, so that's going to determine what I cover it with to keep the fibers from going through this perforated roof. It's not quite like fiberglass, but it still is fibers that you don't want coming out and floating around in here. So anyways, I've got most of my planning done for how I'm going to do this, approximately the cost and today's prices. So that's of course subject to change. So that's the downside to piecemealing it instead of buying it all at once. The price may fluctuate during the project, but I'm prepared to handle that. So, but as of now, yeah, this has been open, and yes, being in the shade, I am under a pretty good shade tree. I've still been able to, we're halfway through June, almost officially into the summer, and I still have not really needed air conditioning. It's warm, but it's comfortable in here right now, and the sun's still up, so it's not bad. We've had some pretty hot days, and once the cool of night starts hitting, you just pop the windows open, run some fans, get the hot air out, bring some cool air in, and by the time it's dark out and you're ready to go to bed, it's comfortable enough in here, especially if you hit the shower, come back out here, you got that evaporative cooling of the water on your skin, and then, you know, it's still working. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm excited to see how that goes. So, because that will make operating this vehicle as a living space much less expensive. So, and much more practical and feasible overall. So, the better I can do there, the better. So I'm really looking forward to that. So, anyways, I know that's not a really great update, but this was a lot of screws. It took me like a couple hours one night to just pull all this stuff out of here, and I really did that just to see what I was going to be getting myself into, and it's not too bad. There's an order to how these panels come out, but once you figure that out, once you figured the puzzle out, it's pretty straightforward. But once I start getting this back part done, just like doing the insulation, the paint's already been purchased, so the paint is going to be going in sections, which means I'm going to be moving in pretty much in sections. So, you know, bit by bit. So, I think it's going to work out well. I would probably prefer to move all in at once, but this project isn't going to go that fast. It's going to go pretty fast, though. So, I'm pretty excited about it. I got one leak to fix. The main, you know, the big blinky camera flash strobe that's on the top, on the roof here, does have a leak. Even though I'm not really licensed to use that type of strobe, I think it's kind of neat. So I'm just going to leave it up there. You know, every once in a while you just don't tell anybody, but you know, if you're out in the woods, you flip the switch, you see it light up. Plus that's a big hole that I would have to patch up. So I'm just going to put some caulking in there, leave it intact, leave the wiring there. It's going to save me a little bit of time not having to undo that and patch that up. There's really no reason to remove it. So anyways, that's pretty much going to cover all that. Everything's been going pretty well. Otherwise, no surprises. I do have some neighbors in here. We got a wasp that keeps trying to move in. Every time I kill a wasp, another one shows up. They keep looking for a spot to make a nest, and I take it down. It's kind of funny. They just insist on being in here. We'll go say hi to the neighbor. He's pretty docile as long as you don't mess with him or her, or whatever it is. There you go. So, dude, just chilling. Let's see, just chilling. Anyways, no, I don't like them. I'm gonna kill that thing as soon as I get off this video. But it's just funny. Every time I turn around, there's another wasp in here, and they're just hanging out on the roof. It's really weird. Anyways, I think that's gonna cover everything so far. Like I said, we're gonna be getting some supplies in, so you're gonna actually start seeing some progress, some stuff start going back together, some paint, some real progress. So a little less discovery, a little bit more actual work, actual build, instead of tearing it apart. Here's the pile of everything that came out. You can see the roof, that back corner. You can see how that was all boxed in. So, anyway. Hey, it's the first time you've actually had a video or it's been daylight out. I'm usually working on this thing like almost midnight. And I found a window of opportunity to get out here in the daylight and actually have a little bit better production quality, at least in terms of lighting. These things are great, by the way. All the heat goes right up out of the top with that domed roof. This is the highest point, and the wind's blowing right across the top of here in the shade, and it's just nice. You get that cool air just sucking all the heat out, and you open up some windows, or you open up the doors like right here, and a lot of that cool air with the heat rising out of the top, it just creates a draft, and the cool air just comes up from the low spots, and It works awesome. So it's pretty exciting just getting a feel for how this thing works and how I can make this thing more comfortable naturally. So anyways, I've rambled on enough on this video, so hopefully that little bit of progress is entertaining to you. But anyways, let me know in the comments what you think. So I guess that's it. Till next time. See y'all later. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal.